Kia ora and welcome. My name is Ellen Rose and this is the Creative Cure to Boredom. I've created this channel to share and explore some creative approaches to art using everyday materials. The hope is that it makes the current lockdown and isolation situation just a little bit more bearable. Today I thought we'd have a bit of an explore with turning cornflour to clay. So we're using cornflour and a few other everyday materials to make some air drying clay. I hope you enjoy. Please leave your suggestions and comments below. Cheers. So I'm adding 1 cup of PVA glue, 1 teaspoon of body lotion, 1 tablespoon of baby oil and 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and mixing it together with 1.5 cups of corn flour. Now, this is my first time using this recipe. I have looked at it online and I did feel like it was way too runny. They recommend, even when it's liquid, to put it on the bench and just start kneading it and it will slowly come together, but I just found it was way too liquid. So I would suggest maybe using 2.5 cups of corn flour rather than 1.5 cups of corn flour with these quantities. And I'm just sort of kneading it until I get a nice sort of clay-like consistency. And I'm also adding more corn flour to the bench to stop it from sticking to the bench. You can see I'm kneading it there and I'm tossing it around, and it's finally sort of at a level that I'd like to work with it at. So rather than using a rolling pin, because I'm aware not everyone has a rolling pin, I just thought I'd use a glass. And I'm putting the flour or leaves down on the clay and rolling it out. And this just presses the leaves or flowers into the clay and gives a really nice impression. And you can see there that I used the glass to sort of cut it into a round shape. Now, eucalyptus leaves are one of my favourites. However, with this exercise, because they don't have a real depth to their indentation, like the little veins on the leaves don't stand out very far, the print wasn't that strong, unfortunately. And I just used the end of a pen lid there to create a hole at the top if I wanted to hang it. This is all about experimentation. I got a bunch of leaves from the garden and I'm just having a bit of a play with what works best. And some of these ones don't work great because, like the eucalyptus leaves, they don't have a depth to the veins that go through the leaves. And then I thought I'd cut some leaves out. Another good point too is make sure your leaves are dry. If they're wet, they stick to the corn flour. And you don't have to pick perfect leaves either. I actually think some of the more interesting leaves are ones that have been attacked by caterpillars or all sorts of bugs. They have really interesting shapes. I've done this exercise before, not with this cornflower clay, but with Sculpey, which is a bake in the oven polymer clay. And I've done it with kawa leaves, and you get really beautiful indentations with that as you get the little caterpillar bites through them. So with this last one, I thought I would make a big one and I'd add lots of different pieces of plant material in there to get a bit of an idea of what is really working well and what isn't. And you'll see when I'm rolling over, I start at one side and I roll to the other. And if I feel like it hasn't indented enough, I'll roll back. Now, I was aware that you possibly wouldn't be able to see a lot of the indentation, so I've gone in quite close. Unfortunately, I did break a couple of the leaves, and this is a couple hours after I did this activity. I would suggest letting it air dry for a couple of days so that it fully hardens. So you can see that some of the clay hasn't picked up the shapes well, whereas that flower has picked up really well. So I'm really looking forward to that fully dry. That's my eucalyptus leaf, and then I decided to put some colour with it too. So there's my mint leaf. I actually left that to dry in the top of the coffee cup, and so it got some nice little natural crevices and creases in it. This is the big one. I think the leaves on the left-hand side work a lot better. So the little bunch of flowers and the one sort of wrinkly long leaf worked quite well. Whereas the fern didn't indent as much as I wanted it to, and neither did the flower on the other side. I think now that I have a bit of an idea of what leaves and flowers work better, I'll be able to make some stronger pieces going forward. And obviously I want to have a bit more of a play putting it into a more 3D realm. Anyway, I really look forward to hearing what you have to say about it if you've tried this activity. Please leave your suggestions and comments below. My name is Ellen Rose and this is the Creative Cure to Boredom. Till next time, Ngā mihi nui.